Remember, when shopping or dining out, ask for fresh from Florida seafood. That helps our state's fishermen and our local economies.
Floridians are fighting back. We're coming together to do our part. Getting a vaccine can protect not only you, but your loved ones too. It's easy, it's safe, it's effective. It doesn't matter where you live. If you are eligible to receive the vaccine, there's a vaccine available for you. As we get back to normal, let's do this together. Learn more at floridahealthcovid19.gov.
Growing figs are an absolute pleasure to grow, but like anything else on the farm, they are susceptible to problems, such as black or sour-smelling figs. This is caused by a bacteria or a few different yeasts. Insects usually spread these pathogens, so the best way to fight it is to control the insects that spread it. When fig trees are stressed, they will slow down or halt ripening. Lack of water is probably the most common stress-causing element. Figs in containers especially dry out quickly. If your fig tree is starved of nutrients, it will slow down or stop ripening. Your tree may look healthy with plenty of foliage, but no fruit sets. It could be as simple as the age of the tree. You have to give your fig tree time to mature before it will produce fruit. This can also be caused by too much nitrogen. Use a balanced fertilizer when you feed your tree. Something with equal parts nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is ideal. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
We'll have a pleasant day with sunshine and some clouds and a high of 72 to 74, then becoming mostly cloudy tonight, low 58 to 65. Partly sunny and breezy Wednesday, high tomorrow 78 to 80. Then breezy and very warm Thursday with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 82 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Join Gary and Don Crawford of Pinnacle Retirement Advisors for Retirement with Pinnacle, Saturday mornings at 9 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Don't miss Retirement with Pinnacle with Gary and Don Crawford, Saturday mornings at 9. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
This hour of Ocala Talks is brought to you in part by Blockers Furniture. Go see all their specials at blockersfurniture.com.
Auto repair with personal care. We know what we're talking about. Matt Gibbs and the guys over at Sonrise Automotive will treat you right. We'll treat you right.
That's right. It's time for Matt Gibbs from Sonrise Auto repair with personal care with Sonrise Auto. Matt Gibbs in studio with us this morning. Matt, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Not soggy like it looks like outside.
No, it's right.
We need this kind of rain.
Yes,
though.
we do.
We need. I got ants and everything, and they come out when the dry comes out. They're trying to take over my subdivision. I need the rain. I needed the rain.
It's raining.
It is raining, and rained pretty good. It's rained pretty good. So,
started last night, right?
Yeah, which is, with rain, and we go into the rainy season after we come out of winter. We go into the rainy season all. And this morning, as I was coming down the road, I did the 2 and 2 change, and a lot of people do this because of the cost of rubber these days. I had 4 tires I needed new tires, but 2 of them were a lot worse than the other 2. So I took the 2 that was best, put them on the back, and put brand new tires on the front. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do that.
Yes,
That's
sir.
common practice.
Yep.
But now it's time for the back 2 to get replaced, because when I touch the tread, there ain't much tread there. It's not a slick yet, but it's close. And so this morning, as I was coming down the road, I was worried. I go, I know it's a front wheel drive and everything, but in a front wheel drive car like that, with the tires on the back, that there's a little tread on them, but not much. Explain to me. I know it's not okay, but am I still safer than I would be if it was a rear wheel drive car, and why?
Well, if it was a rear-wheel drive car, I would tell you to do it opposite.
Right.
So you would have the better tires on the driving force.
On the back, right.
But the good thing about front-wheel drive car is that that's where it's pulling from, right?
Mhm.
And also that's where it's braking from. So,
Right.
you know, the front does 70%, 80% of the braking is actually coming from your front. But if you
Here
were
we
to,
go.
But if you were to get in and you could hydroplane,
Right.
You can, you know, and your car is equipped with anti-lock brakes, which right now is probably
Right now
not
it's not
functioning.
working. Right now it's not working because
So-
there's a recall.
That's right. so that means if you got into a situation and you hit the brakes, you're not going to have traction in the back. And whenever your wheels lock up, whatever direction you're going,
That's where you're going.
that's where until it stops.
That's where you're going.
Until it stops.
I know about once you start sliding. I did a Nissan hard body pickup on black ice on the
Oh,
Blue
yeah.
Ridge Parkway. Until it stops,
That's
you're
it,
just at the mercy of the spin.
That's exactly right. That's
You
exactly
can
right.
shift gears and try to make it grip and everything, but once you spin,
You're
till it
done.
stops, you're
Yep.
pretty much spinning.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, with that being said, though, I've only got about 8,000 miles on these new tires.
Okay.
Then they would go to the back,
Yep.
and then brand new ones would go on the front.
And really, what you should do is about what I tell customers is every other oil change,
Mhm.
rotate your tires.
Every other, so I go about 5,000 miles on my oil change.
Okay.
So about every 10,000
Yeah,
miles,
rotate them.
rotate them. And those touring tires, which touring tires are what I have to run on that because I tried to go cheap one time and not put touring tires on it, and it doesn't ride like a Cadillac when there's not touring tires on it.
Yes.
Who knew that tires could make that big a difference?
Oh, they make a big difference.
You know, but touring tires cost a little more.
But you always get what you pay for.
You do.
Especially nowadays.
And I don't buy the Goodyear, but this is a brand of tire that's made by Goodyear.
Okay.
It's a knockoff of Goodyear that Goodyear makes. They just don't warranty it the way they would warranty their Goodyear tire and everything. And you know, people sometimes don't realize that rubber companies like Goodyear and all, they may make 7 or 8 different tires that aren't Goodyear tires, but they're still made
Right.
in the same factory Goodyear is made. It's made by the same people that are making a Goodyear. I mean, it's just not the. It's kind of like, you know, people don't realize that when you go and buy T.G. Lee milk, they run T.G. Lee milk, Publix milk, and Winn-Dixie milk down the same line.
Right.
They run.
That's like I used to own a gas station, and folks, gas comes from you go down to Tampa and get, you know.
No,
and
there's Dextron in it and everything. Calm down, Matt.
Now,
I
that's-
see the commercials.
That's well. Actually, all the fuel is the same. That each company might have their little
Additives.
additives that they put in, which is okay.
Yeah, I remember the first time my dad, when I was a little kid, you know, Gates, a fuel company. People don't realize Gate gas stations. They think it's just gas stations. Actually, it's a big fuel company in Jacksonville that happens to have gas stations. And, you know, Dad had Sunoco stations. And Sunoco would bring gas, but every now and then the Gate truck would pull up and bring gas. I go, Dad. He goes, son, Gate was cheaper this week.
So he was an independent.
He was an independent. He sold Sunoco. He had Sunoco pumps and everything, but he was not. This was in the 70s. He was not under contract to
Right.
Sunoco.
Right.
And I said, why go with Sunoco? And he went with Sunoco because Sunoco and Unical then were the two racing.
Right.
And so a lot of Unical, a lot of what were they? 76 stations.
Yep.
A lot of 76 stations, a lot of Sunoco stations in the 70s, because especially in the South, because NASCAR, that was the gas they used.
That's it.
You know, people go, how'd Goodyear get to be such a big tire? It ran at the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah. Yep. And talking about tires, there are some. A lot of times, some of the off brands that Goodyear, Michelin, and whatnot make, they'll actually have a better warranty
Right.
than the Goodyear tire will have.
I'm sure. Now, you know, when you go in, I always go in and when I buy wipers, guy goes, you want economy wipers, good wipers, or the best wipers in the building? And I always get the middle of the road. I don't get the economy and I don't get the best because I run the bug washer that's got the Rain-X in it. So that helps. But tires are a lot along that same way.
Yeah.
You got economy tires, you got top of the line tires, but some of those mid-range tires are perfectly good tires.
Yeah, we sell some really good tires, and they don't break the bank. You know, they're it's not that they're cheap, they're just not as expensive as some of the brand name tires.
If I put Goodyear touring tires, call back, caller 622-9622 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the program. If I put actual Goodyear or Michelin name brand touring tires on a Cadillac, it'd be $1,000.
Yep.
I do it now with the secondary brands for $500.
Yep.
But still ain't cheap. $500.
Nope.
I don't know anybody that thinks, unless you're Elon Musk, thinks $500 is cheap. But it's still a whole lot cheaper, and the tire's just as good. The warranty I have on this touring tire I'm using for the same mileage tire that Goodyear sells, like you said, the warranty's better on this tire I'm using than it would be on the Goodyear tire of the same mileage.
That's right.
Good morning. You're on with Matt Gibbs from Sonrise Auto.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Hugh.
You're talking about rotating every other oil change. How often do you think you should have an alignment on your vehicle?
Okay, so when you go in, and let's say you bring your car in, we're going to do a rotation, or even if you come in for an alignment, for an oil change, well, we'll look at the tires, because especially when you're rotating them, because you got your hands on them. So if you see something, if you see the outside wearing funny, you see the inside wearing funny, then it may be time to have an alignment. So, or let's say it's been a couple years, you might want to have an alignment. Here's the deal. So unless there's something like wore out, alignments are pretty sturdy nowadays. We don't have as many parts on the front end of these cars like we used to with drag links and center links and idle arms and pitman arms. We don't have a lot of that stuff anymore. So we have upper and lower ball joints, and we have tie rods.
Less to go wrong.
Less to wear out, and it's a lot of times. So if you have play in the front end, well, if you need an idle arm or a tie rod end or a ball joint, well, then you're going to have an alignment at that point. So as long as the steering wheel's going straight, you're driving straight down the road, the tires are wearing okay, I'm going to say you're pretty good. Something starts changing where it pulls to the right or pulls to the left. A lot of times people will come in and want an alignment, because it's pulling to the right or left. And a lot of times all we do is rotate the tires, and we fix the pull issue.
Yeah.
And alignment stuff, I have a guy, I've told him 100 times, you don't have to align your truck twice a year, but this guy's going to have an alignment twice a year. And that's it. And he's not going to go to sleep unless he's had his alignment,
Well, Sonny's a good guy that way.
Yeah. How important is proper air pressure in your tires?
Well, I think it's if for fuel economy, for tire wear, taking care of it goes back to taking care of what you have. So if you take care of your car, keep the proper air in the tires, the tire's going to last longer. It's going to ride better.
Your gas mileage will be better.
Gas mileage is going to be better. And that also could be a reason why you might be wanting alignment, because the car's pulling, and it may be, a difference in air pressure. But here again, most of the cars today have TPMS sensor systems on them. And I can just push a button and I can monitor all the pressures and all my tires.
I can look at mine, and I can push a button and look at mine. I did it this morning to make sure they were all good before I got out on the rainy road. Thanks for the call, Hugh. Got out on the rainy roads, and I had ridden about 2 miles, so I thought it probably had enough heat in it where it would register. They were all at 34 pounds.
Yep.
My tires called for 35 pounds, so I was within a pound,
Yep.
so I didn't feel like that was that big a deal. So, but, my test, and my dad taught me couple of things he did teach me. He didn't teach me to tell the difference how, and I don't know if it works these days or not, but I remember when I was a kid, he showed me how to tell whether it was the alternator or the battery. Take the positive cable off after the car's cranked. If it shuts off, it's the alternator.
Right.
If it doesn't shut off, it's the battery.
Right.
I don't know if that's still true today or not.
Pretty much.
But he told me with alignment, and this was back when, there was a lot of different things going, rocker arms, everything. He said with alignment, let the wheel go on a road where there's no cars around anything. Let the wheel go. If it doesn't pull to the right or to the left, if it stays straight, your alignment's in good shape.
Yeah. And that's but here, so one of the things and
the steering wheel's can't have the steering wheel at 2 instead of 12.
Right.
You gotta have the steering wheel at 12 and it not pull left to right. If your steering wheel's at 2 and it's not pulling left to right, that's still a problem.
Right. At least your steering wheel's off. So I mean, and one of the things we got to consider in here down in the South. So back in the day when they had shims and they had all the the drag links and pitman arms and idle arms and all that. So when I was working at the dealerships, we'd have a lot of people complaining of cars pulling to the right. All the new cars pull to the right. And the reason that they pull to the right is the alignment specifications that they were set up at the factory was not conducive to the roads that we have in Florida. See, in Florida, we have a heavy crown on the road.
So water runs off.
Water runs off. So therefore, we would have to set up the caster and camber a little bit different in the South than they do up in the North. So now back then in those days, if you let go of the steering wheel, every car would just drift to the right.
Because the road made you drift to the right.
Because the road made us drift to the right. So we would have specifications, even though the factory says, I want you to set, these are the specifications, plus or minus.
Right.
And so we would just know here, this is what we need to do to make the car drive straight down the road.
How much does speed bumps and stuff like that factor into knocking your car out of alignment? These days, back in the day, it mattered.
Yes.
These days, don't take
if you're rolling
I'm
over.
not taking it doing it at 45.
Right, exactly.
I'm talking about you using the speed bumps or all. When it says slow down to 15, there's a speed table coming up or something.
Right.
You do that exact thing, or when you're in a parking lot, you roll over them slowly. Are they detrimental to your alignment anymore?
Nah. Nope.
Because I know they used to be detrimental to your alignment.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that could affect the alignment. When they had
potholes, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Now, how much does losing a weight on a tire and everything? How much did that affect?
Well, you'll be the first to know, because if it starts shaking,
right?
Then it's
and that's what sometimes the shake is caused just by a weight being out of a tire being out of balance because of weights and everything.
Yep. And a lot of times, what we see in tires is that I'd say the majority of times, if we have a vibration and we have more tire issues than we do alignment issues.
Right.
Okay. And we have more tire issues than we do with dealing with vibrations. So, and even like the way that if you look at a lot of the new cars, you don't see weights on the outside of the wheel anymore. No. There's not even the lip to put a weight.
Right. The weights go on the inside nowadays.
Right. And they're a little bit more. They're a little bit more complicated to balance, because now you're using sticky weights and all that stuff. So if you don't clean that surface, if you don't really get it nice and clean, we deal with a lot of weights that come off and vibrations.
Well, now you got machine, you put the tire in, it spins, it checks the weights and all. I mean, don't you miss the days when you had that little bubble thing and you set the tire on?
No, I don't miss that day at all, brother.
You know how many rear end whoopings I got because going out there messing with that leveler, that tire? Because, it was gold. Now you got the machines that do it for you. But before, it was an art getting those tires balanced and everything. Yeah. With the mercury ball that moved around. Man, I'd go out there messing with that, sitting on it there. My dad'd come out there and wear me out. Because I didn't realize, when he bought that brand new, it was $100. In 1970, 71, $100 was a bunch of money. Just like they don't give away those machines that when you put them in the balancing machines now, the computerized balancing machines, they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap.
Right. Well, I always thought it was just cool because I'd go out there messing with the arm and everything, move it. Oh, yeah. Son, I tore out the brakes, got the brakes tore off of me more than once messing with that balancer. More.
You'd have thought you'd have learned something.
Nah, you seen this head?
Yeah, no,
hard.
Yeah,
hard. But that's how far we've come. It used to be like you see on a camera or something. It was a little leveler ball, and you would have to get it with inside the little circle and everything.
That ain't that.
That was a pain.
I remember doing alignments with magnets on. You'd stick it on the hub. Yeah, with a little bubble in that.
Yeah, to level it out.
You level it out.
So, but alignments now have come a long way, so you don't have to do them as often. But with I always hear this phrase: tires are cupping.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean?
So cupping So cupping can come from a couple things. So that means that there's high spots and low spots on the tire. Right?
So it creates a cup.
Right. So there's divots in the tread. So that usually is most of the time that has to do with balancing issues. The tires aren't balanced, causing a vibration. So the tire's doing this as it's going down the road.
And it's eating different. The rubber's getting eaten differently.
Or we have a suspension issue. So we could have a bad shock, a strut, something like that, and it's not absorbing anymore. So now that's allowing the tire to do that. And or like if you're a truck guy and you pull a trailer, a lot of times if you have a big trailer, causes the front end to be light, and that front end is constantly putting pressure down and up. That can cause it to also cup too. But that's another reason why you should rotate your tires. That's part of keeping that tire, giving it full. Yeah.
How many people, and I know this is going to be a crazy low answer, but how many people do you think actually understand how to properly tow things with their trucks or vehicles?
No, I don't think. Hey, I just hook up and go, brother.
But you know what your truck, you know what your truck's weight limit is and everything.
Yeah, I do.
And you exceed it. You exceed it at times.
Yeah.
But I mean, how and what kind of strain? That puts a strain directly on the transmission.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember remember the S10 Blazers.
Oh yeah.
The 6-cylinder S10 Blazers. We put a 5-foot by 8-foot trailer.
That's too much, bro.
Open air trailer. Okay, open air trailer.
Yep.
Little wood plank trailer with a Honda Helix 250 motor scooter on the back.
Yeah.
And we brought it from Atlanta to Statesboro. Time we got to Statesboro, guy's transmission was shot. Shot. And I thought, this is a S10 Blazer. It's supposed to be an off-the-road vehicle. And here we have tore the transmission up in 230 miles, pulling a Honda Helix motor scooter in a little bitty trailer.
Yep.
But it ate that transmission up because the transmission wasn't built to pull that. And, I mean, I guarantee you that trailer, the Honda Helix and everything total, may have been 800 pounds.
Well, that was also back. That was probably what, in the 80s?
1989.
Yeah. So GM was having some. That was a 700 R4 transmission, and they were having some issues with that transmission anyway.
Oh, were they?
So just adding another 800 pounds to it. But so when you were pulling back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, if we knew somebody was pulling a trailer, a camper, a boat, whatever, man, we begged them, please get an external cooler, because the cooler for the transmission is inside your radiator. So stop and think about this. So
that's a long way it's got to go to get cool.
Well, and it's good that it has that
okay.
long, you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Most of these cars have a 195-degree thermostat, which means the car's going to actually run, after the thermostat's fully open, around 210 degrees. So now inside the radiator is 210 degrees. That's the water temperature that we're going to cool through.
Almost boiling.
Almost. And now we're going to cool the transmission to the 210 degrees. Now, here's what they've learned. They've learned if we can keep a transmission under 175 degrees, it quadruples the life of the transmission.
4 times longer life.
4 times longer life if we can lower the temperature to 175
So
degrees.
the new cars, transmissions have their own coolers.
So now, yes. So it took most of the manufacturers a few decades to figure this out. We were putting 15,000 GVW Hayden external transmission coolers on everything.
Right.
If you're pulling something, you have to do this. And so
if we'd have put an external cooler on that transmission, he'd have probably been able to pull it.
He probably would have been okay. But they were still having issues with that transmission.
Well, lucky for me, my buddy Kip, he was out of a Blazer till they got the transmission fixed. My Honda Helix was fine. I got on that motor scooter and rode all over campus. He's like, you tore my transmission up. I go, I didn't tear your transmission up. I asked you, can this Blazer pull this trailer at all? And you said, sure, no problem. I took you at your word. He was so angry with that. He wouldn't talk to me for like 3 months, told me I owed him for the fixing the transmission and everything. I asked you if it could pull it. His exact reply was, man, this is a Chevrolet Blazer. It can pull anything.
Yeah, right.
That was his exact response. And and he was like, I don't know why it blew it up. I pull my John boat with it all the time. Well, the mechanic heard him say that. We're talking. The mechanic goes, yeah, you pull your John boat from your house 3 miles to the river and 3 miles back. You don't pull it 230 miles from Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had back in the 90s, talking about Alan Jackson, the country singer, he had a GMC truck. He didn't have a Mercury. He had a GMC truck. And he went down to Fort Lauderdale and he bought a big boat.
Right.
So he's bringing a boat to wherever it is that he was going. He got to Ocala.
Didn't have transmission.
No more transmission left in his truck.
From Fort Lauderdale.
From Fort Lauderdale.
That's 4 hours. Yeah. No, back then, because it was 55 miles an hour, it was probably 6 hours.
No more transmission. And this truck only had probably into 20,000 miles on it.
So it was under warranty.
Oh, it was under warranty.
Yeah.
The only problem is that he was in a big hurry, and there was no transmissions available.
Oh, no. What did he do?
We got him hooked up.
You got him hooked up? Did you put an external cooler on the new one?
Yeah, we sure did.
Did you get free tickets out of it? You get to go to a concert?
We didn't get tickets, but we got a bunch of stuff.
You got a bunch of stuff. Good, good for you. 622-9622 is the number to call. You got about a minute left in the show with Matt Gibbs from Sonrise Auto. So how close are the tire manufacturers these days to getting it dead accurate on the mileage? Because, like, I got 40,000-mile touring tires, and those back ones that are on the back, I'm at about 38,000, and they got, within the next month and a half, I got to replace them, and it'll be right at 40,000 miles.
Well, see, but I believe you've done the due diligence because you kept the right air pressure in your tires.
Right.
So you have to take care of your tires in order for you to get those miles
But still,
out.
They're pretty good at 40,000. They're done.
Right. Well, they're saying
you're not getting 45, 46 out of them hardly. And has that always been the case, or is that with the new tires?
I think that's pretty much been the case. They rate them. They do the research and everything, and it's proper people. People that take. I'm not a good tire taker. Care of her.
Matt, tell people where they can find you.
You can give me a call at 352-690-1993 or come by and see us at 1800 Northwest 10th Street.
That is Matt Gibbs from Sonrise Auto. He's here every Tuesday. We'll be right back after this timeout on WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
As Russia continues to posture against their Ukrainian neighbor, U.S. and U.K. leaders have said not all hope is lost for a diplomatic solution to the crisis, but warn the situation remains fragile. In a 40-minute phone call, President Biden and Prime Minister Johnson agreed a deal was still possible despite warnings of imminent Russian military action. Russia's foreign minister said yesterday diplomacy was far from exhausted. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe on new revelations in the John Durham investigation. The probe has uncovered evidence that Hillary Clinton's campaign paid to have Trump campaign servers and then the presidential servers spied upon.
I would expect there to be, frankly, quite a few more indictments. I think this conspiracy, and I do think there was a criminal conspiracy, is broad and deep.
Thanks for listening. It's well appreciated. We are USA Radio News.
If you're like most Americans, you're pretty much in disbelief with what's going on in the world. As we all know, global problems are having local consequences. Too many of them. And if the peanut butter really hits the fan, are you ready? Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Now's the time to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. Our food kits will ship quickly and discreetly to your door. Having food storage in your home beats government food lines hands down. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, Sunday mornings at 8 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 to Coasting into Retirement with Gary Marriage of Nature Coast Financial Advisors.
Our firm offers insurance services.
Well, now, during this year's Camellia Show Spectacular is a great time to see the big changes in store for you at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. Come see the new display areas, hundreds of new and exciting plants, color like you've never seen before because it's Camellia time. And while you're there, check out a few of this week's deals. A truckload citrus sale with citrus bushes as low as $24.99. Those super popular smaller cocktail trees, just $69.99. Get inflation fighters like spring veggies, the jumbo 4-pack, just $4.99. 3 bags of quality red mulch, just $12. And of course, ever-blooming red ruffle azaleas, still at 2019 prices, just $3.99 each. But hurry, supplies are limited. It's now, today, at Bob Wine's Camellia Garden on Southeast 38th Street in Ocala, daily till 4. Saturdays till 3 in the same blooming place for 70 consecutive years. We'll see you there.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. Here's the latest from the College of Central Florida. On Tuesday, February 22nd at 8:35 a.m., Dr. Raphael Robinson will tell us about Preview Night. That's coming up at CF Ocala's campus. Tune in to find out about the programs, services, and clubs that will be on hand to answer all your questions about enrolling at CF. So make sure to join Ocala Talks at 8:35 on February 22nd.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally,